Hey, it's Travis Blue, and today we're tackling Beef Wellington. Tenderloin wrapped in a puff pastry with other stuff. It sounds difficult, but it's not. Let's do this! To assemble the Wellington, you need a beef tenderloin, prosciutto, strong mustard, like English or Dijon, about a pound of mushrooms, a couple of shallots, fresh thyme, dried is okay too, plastic wrap is key, and a puff pastry. If you make it yourself, by all means, but I got this at the store. Fun fact, Beef Wellington is not named after the Duke of Wellington. He defeated Napoleon at Waterloo? Okay, Waterloo. British are the tea, French are the cheese, and the Prussians are the pretzels. The cheese attacked the tea held its ground, the pretzels came over and helped, and the cheese withdrew from the field in shame. And that's Waterloo. Anyway, meat cooked in pastry has been made for hundreds of years, but Beef Wellington didn't appear on menus until the 20th century and got very popular in the 1960s when Julia Child made it on her TV show. My guess is that it got named Beef Wellington because it sounded classy. Like Toby. I bought the tenderloin in the bag and then trimmed it up myself into about an 8-inch cylinder here. You can have the butcher do it. I kind of like to do it and I had the time. But we're going to salt and pepper it and we're going to sear it in a hot pan in the oil. Sear it off good on all sides. Make sure your pan is hot. It'll just take a few minutes to get a nice brown color all around and make sure you get the ends. Then you're going to set it on a plate. I'm going to brush it with the mustard all over while it's hot so it soaks into the meat. And then the meat's going to rest while we do the mushrooms. My store was out of English mustard, so I used Dijon. I know it's French mustard on something called a Wellington, but you do what you got to do. Time for the mushrooms. We're going to make what's called a duxelle. We're going to grind them up in a food processor, and I'm going to chop up some of the shallot, put a little fresh thyme. We're going to sweat a bunch of liquid out so it's kind of a paste, and it's going to be a layer inside the Wellington. All right, get your food processor. Take the caps off, put them in. All right, so we've ground it into kind of a paste. It's kind of like almost gravelly, but it's soft, you know. And so we're just gonna like sweat that in the pan after I cook down those shallots just a little bit. Melt in the shallots in a little butter because butter and shallots go together like butter and just about everything. Shallots. Before I put the mushrooms in, I'm going to deglaze these shallots with a little bit of bourbon. It's been a long pandemic. Okay, those are looking good. The liquid's all cooked off. I can still smell the bourbon a little bit, just that smokiness. I actually like it. But, time to put in the mushrooms. You can kind of mush it down and just let it cook. And you just want that liquid to start bubbling up. But that's what we want. We want to get rid of as much of that liquid as we can. This part takes a few minutes, so you really have to wait and just let it cook off. But it's worth it, trust me. Speaking of time, all right, see how it's kind of much thicker, almost chunky? That's what we want. A lot of that liquid has now evaporated. It took about 30 minutes. So make sure you just build that time into your process. So we're going to get that and put it onto a plate to cool it. All right, kind of smash them flat on the plate. I'm going to put this in the fridge just for a few minutes just to get them a little cooler so that they're not too hot when we roll up the Wellington. But that's next. Okay, time for the fun part. First assembly. We're going to put the prosciutto down in shingles, hit them with a little pepper, and then we're going to put the Duzelles on top of that, like in a spread. Just take it straight from the plate, just onto the prosciutto. And the beef goes on top of that. Then we roll it up tight in the plastic wrap and then put it in the fridge to set just for about 10-15 minutes. All right, so wrap it up as tight as you can out plastic wrap. I like the Target brand, but whatever you use is fine. Really get it tight and put it in the fridge for about 10-15 minutes just to set. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, so get your puff pastry out of the fridge. Same process, but we're putting the puff pastry down on the plastic wrap, and then we're going to put the prosciutto wrapped meat on top of that and roll it up inside. Back in the fridge while the oven heats to 425 degrees. We're almost there. All right, oven's hit 425. Last step, put a little bit of egg yolk on the outside just so it cooks up nice and pretty. Look at that. Score it with the back of the knife. It'll make it cook up nice. Into the oven, about 30-35 minutes. All right. It's so brown and beautiful. Okay, we're gonna let it rest 10 minutes like you always do with roast, and then we eat it. All right, it's rested, it's ready, and so am I. Ooh. All right, let's take a sample. Oh my God. So much flavor. The mushrooms, the prosciutto, a little sweetness and crunch from the puff pastry. And this video is just okay. This Wellington is awesome. You should make it. You can make it. Go forth and make great food. And like and subscribe. Hit that subscription bell like you mean it. Bye.